So I wrote down here, so what would you practice? What would you do? What would that look like? So I wrote down, how about the listing presentation? Let's say that you were going to commit 10,000 hours to this. Let's say you're going to be, let me ask you a question. Including me, do you think you guys are going to be here 13 years from now? Anybody don't think they're going to be around selling houses of some sort at some level, doing loans for 13 years? Including me. Bruce, you'll be here. You'll be here. I guarantee you're here just to make sure we're here. I mean, think about it. We're going to be here anyway, right? Say yes. Yes. I mean, the plan is for us to be here. So what if we dedicated 15 hours a week to focus, intense, deliberate practice? Now, what's practice? The listing presentation, overcoming your objection handlers, learning your objection. So here's an objection. I want to think about it. Is that an objection? What if you spent 3 hours a day, 15 hours a week, for the next month? So you ended up putting in, I don't know what, 60 hours, and you wrote out every way to overcome that objection that you could think of, that I could think of, that your coaches would think of, that each other you could brainstorm, and you came up with 15, 20, 25, 30 great ways of handling that objection. Then you boiled it down to 5 or 6, and you learned those so well that anytime anyone said to you, I want to think about it, you just put a big goofy smile on your face and, is that the best you can throw at me? Because I just spent 60 hours learning that one. I got that one. Because remember, we got to get to 10,000 hours. We got all of this time going. We're going to be here anyway. Practice, drill, rehearse. I wrote down some agents I think could be approaching 10,000 hours of practice, drill, and rehearse. Because you can't do this in a year or two. You can't preview all the properties. You can't learn all the scripts and dialogues. You can't learn all the ins and outs of the contracts. This business does take some time, right? Say yes.
Yes.
And we're going to be here doing it. And if you look at all the great performers, the people earning, as we define great, in excess of $1 million a year, or on their way to earning $1 million a year, you've got people like Monica Diaz, Frank Del Rio, the Scalios, Barbara and Richard, Mark and Al, Michael Ojeda, Karen Bernardi, Neil Weichel. All of those people have been in the business approaching 10 years or more than 10 years, and practice, drill, and rehearse. Different levels, different things, but they're putting the time in. Those of you that have been in the business 10 years or longer, what do you do different today from what you did in the first 2 or 3 years of when you got in the real estate business? What do you really do different? You learn how to write the contracts. When's the last time you read the contract, other than the new changes? When's the last time you read through that contract and knew it? Knew it so well, maybe if somebody said, well, that's not in the contract, and you said, well, wait a minute, yes it is. I just recently read through it. Go through it every quarter. So that when I have conversations with Marilyn knows that contract so well that she can tell you what's in the contract and not what's in the contract. So well. Because that's what she works on day in and day out. She's probably got 10,000 hours on the contract. She can tell you if it's there or not there. Can you? You need to do this. This is your business. This is your livelihood. And that's the difference between what you make and what they make. Practice, drill, rehearse. Previewing property. You just have to do this. Why do these agents know what's available after 10 years? Because they've seen property for 10 or 15 years. Now, they may not have seen, like we want you to see 5 a week, 5 a day, 25 a week. They may not have done that. But after 10 years, have you seen a decent amount of property if you sell a decent amount of homes, right? Say yes. So you know what's going on in the marketplace. You know what's happening. I cannot teach experience. I could teach you the scripts, I could teach you the dialogues, I could teach you how to say it and what to say, and we can break it down line by line by line by line by line. I can hold you accountable to that, but I can't teach you experience. The only way you can learn experience is by physically going out and seeing the property and not looking at it on the computer. Seeing the picture isn't what it's about. Seeing the house, seeing the street, seeing the little innuendos and the things. Let me tell you something. I don't know about you guys. When you take pictures, do you take pictures of the garbage part or the nice part? Hello? The nice part. Right. So what you see on the computer is everything that is nice. But you don't get to see the other things that are going on in the property that might be interesting. You don't care about RV parking, or maybe you do care about RV parking, and you notice that they have a big side yard, but you don't think of it in terms of RV parking because somebody would have to put a slab in and do some extra work and put a gate in, and that might be expensive. Well, to somebody that has a motorhome, that's valuable and might be willing to spend $5,000 on doing that. But unless you've previewed the house and seen what was going on and seen what was possible, how would you ever know that? You have to be at productivity school. Those of you that aren't signed up, get signed up. That's part of the practice, drill, and rehearse. That's part of your 10,000 hours.